me say good morning. Let me say good morning once again. Welcome. It's the Mid-Morning Buzz here on Classic Radio GBN TV. And with this morning, of course, with this segment come to compliments, of course, Grenada Cooperative League. And it's called Cooperative Spotlight. Let me say good morning to Mr. Emmons. Not your first time with me on the program, so I haven't seen you in a bit, though. Well, good morning to you. How you doing, sir?
Yes. Morning, man. I'm fine. Good morning to your listening and viewing public.
All right. So we set up another edition of the Cooperative Spotlight. And our focus conversation this morning going to be, of course, we want to explain the structure of cooperatives.
Yes.
From past programs, we have talked a lot to individuals who have formed their cooperative. Okay. But there's a structure that this thing has to go through.
Right.
Various stages and so forth. So when if someone is to ask a question to you this morning, the structure of cooperative. Explain that for me in a wee bit. The structure that goes through in terms of. I'm not sure if there's a structure for the actual startup. Is there a structure for the process how individual they become a cooperative, officially and so forth? Talk to me in relation to that.
Okay. Now, before we go into the actual structure, right? Mm-hmm. I know this has been an ongoing program,
yes.
But for persons who might be viewing for the first time,
mm-hmm.
Let me just define what a cooperative is.
I agree with
right.
that.
So a cooperative really is an association of persons who voluntarily come together, right, on democratic principles to achieve a common goal. And really, it's a business goal.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, that is what a cooperative is. And a cooperative, they operate on certain principles, mm-hmm. right? We call them the 7 basic principles of cooperatives.
Yeah.
Right. And those principles are open and voluntary membership. Right. Then we have democratic member control, which I just touched on. We have autonomy and independence, which means that a cooperative is an autonomous body, mm-hmm. right? And we have our members' economic participation. So you must participate as a member economically to become part of the cooperative. And really that participation takes the form of purchasing shares.
Okay.
All right. It could also mean that you put other financial injection into the cooperative, but basically it's purchasing shares. Then we have what we call education and training. That's another principle. Once you become a part of a cooperative, really you need to grow in knowledge.
Yes.
You shouldn't stay the same way that you when you enter the cooperative. You should grow in knowledge.
It's something that should develop growth, more or less.
Yes, of course.
You should see that it should show the potential of wanting to move from one stage to the next.
Right. Yes, definitely. And then there's another principle that says cooperation among cooperatives.
All right.
Which means that cooperatives should share knowledge, and they should assist one another and help each other to grow, because really it's a movement.
Even though it's of different, let's say a cooperative that deal with fisheries, with fishing per se. There could be a cooperative that's into the agricultural sector.
Right.
They could speak among themselves a way of developing each other, merging their products together for some way or the other. Even though it's of different entity they're dealing with,
yes.
But some way they could merge each other in some way or the other. That's where that understanding of each other's work comes into play.
Yes, of course. All right, and then we have what we have concern for community. Yes, that's a principle I think that cooperative really should pay attention to. You should improve the community in which in some way of where you operate.
How important is that, to say? Let's say if we say there's just for example, there's a cooperative that was formed in the Tempe area.
Right.
And whatever they decide they're cooperating to become, or whatever they plan on doing. How does a community fit into it?
Right. So cooperatives are really supposed to enhance the social structure of the community in which they where they exist.
Yeah.
That's one of the basic tenets of cooperatives. So they should look around, look at are there some kind of environmental issues that we could tackle? Are there persons that need help with education, for example?
Yeah.
Or poverty? Poverty alleviation is something that is really, really basic to cooperatives, right? So you can look at the community, see how you can enhance the community in some way. And that's one of the basic principles of cooperatives.
All right. And that should also work as incentives for individuals wanting to become members also.
Of course. Of course, yes. Yes, because if you look and you see that the cooperative is really, it's better in the lives of the persons in the community, that's something you want to be a part of. Right? Yes, so as I said, that's one of the basic principles. Now that we have the principles and the definition out of the way, let's look at the structure, because there's actually a structure.
Yeah, sure, true.
Right. So a cooperative is different to a company in that in a company you have the CEO at the top. Maybe you have the board of directors come down, and you have the
managers,
supervisors, employees, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But in a cooperative, you have the members being the main decision makers.
Okay.
The owners and the main decision makers in the cooperative. Right. So that's the way the structure begins at the top. So you have the members at the top. Right. The cooperative societies act says that a cooperative must be managed by a board of directors. So from the membership, they would elect a board of directors.
Okay.
Right. The board of directors range from 5 to 13 members.
Okay.
All odd numbers. Sorry. Right, so it's never an even number, and that is for voting purposes, so that you don't have a situation where you have a vote locked.
Okay.
You have even votes, and then
then you can't move forward.
You can't move forward.
I understand.
Yes. So so members at the top, then you have the board of directors. Now the board of directors, depending on the size and complexity of the cooperative, may not be able to effectively manage. So they might need some assistance.
Yes.
So usually the board of directors, in that case, would elect committees or form committees. Right.
So they are within the entire structure of they are the owners, as we would say, as you mentioned slightly,
right.
With all the members.
Right.
But there are committees within the entire membership also.
Committees.
Committees within the membership.
Right. So they might form committees. For example, if they have a specific project.
Okay.
They might want to go into some form of investment. They might form an investment committee.
All right.
Right. So you form different committees
for dealing with specific purpose of the cooperative.
Correct.
All right.
Specific purposes, and then these committees now would then report back to the board, because you remember the board will have the overall oversight. Right. But because they can't be everywhere at the same time, they have these committees set up to deal with specific projects.
Does these committee members have to be members of that particular cooperative?
Yes.
For example's sake, I mean, could they say, well, I'm gathering some folks from somewhere else to be part of the former committee, or they have to be members of that particular cooperative? They should be members of that committee?
They should be members.
All right.
They should be members of.
But it's not likely they should step outside of that. Is that possible?
I've never heard of it.
You never have it. Just for open for conversation's sake, because sometimes I say, well, I'm going to grab a couple of folks out from over there, and they may come and help us in this committee because we want to deal with that because of their knowledge. I wonder if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from.
But most time they don't ever step out of there.
They don't ever step out. I haven't seen anything in the act that prohibits it. Okay. What the act said is that the board of directors could exercise its powers directly or indirectly.
All right.
So which means that they could co-op assistance.
All right.
So I'm not ruling it out, but I'm just saying that I've never seen
it happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes folks outsource, as you would say, right?
Yes, of course, of course.
That would source help. Yes. So that's why I asked the question if it could happen. Yeah. When you spoke about the committees being formed,
right?
For depending on the specific, opportunity that they want to get into,
right?
If they could do that. But if it's not something that you have seen before, well, But as you say, doesn't mean that it can't happen.
Yes. I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm just saying that I've never seen it.
Okay.
And I've not seen anything in the law that prohibits it
from happening.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So these committees are really they set up, as I said, for specific purposes and to enhance the management capabilities of the board. All right. Now, the board of directors, again, according to the size of the cooperative, may not be directly involved in the day-to-day operations of the cooperative. right? They for decision-making purposes and so on.
Okay.
So then they might want to hire a manager or a management system, maybe supervisors and so on, depending on the size of the cooperative. So now you have the members at the top, you have the board of directors, you have committees, so now you have managers.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, their job is to manage the day-to-day operations, again, and to report back to the board. Right? And from then you have the employees of the cooperative.
Okay.
Now, managers and employees do not necessarily have to be members.
Okay. Because I was just about to ask you that same thing. If it's similar, if they could outsource a manager.
Yes, of course.
You understand? The employees, yes, it's a cooperative, but this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a member of the cooperative.
No.
You can always outsource that.
You could outsource that. Yeah. You could hire a manager as well as hire employees.
Keeping with your principles that you're following also.
Keeping with your principles. All right? Unless you do you form an industrial cooperative.
Okay.
Now, in an industrial cooperative, the members has to be the workers.
Okay.
Right. So there are different types of cooperatives.
All right.
Right. So if you form an industrial cooperative, then the members are the workers, also the workers.
Okay.
And then from the membership, you also have to form your board, which sometimes cause a little. It's a little bit complex.
It's like keeping it inclusive to a point.
Yes.
In an industrial one.
Yes, in an industrial cooperative, but it could be a little bit complex in that sometimes you have persons carrying different caps. They were in different caps, different roles. Right. Once you step off the board, then you become an employee. Mm-hmm. When you're in your board function, then you're making decisions.
Yeah. I understand the complexity of that there now, because it's like when you're in that particular room, you're at that stage. When you step out of that room, you're at another stage.
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
And it's now you having to oversee other individuals could be a little bit of complexity there. I where you coming from? They may look at you with being regular. I could talk to Mr. Emmons in a regular conversation, but no, Mr. Stemmons moved to this room. I have to speak to him differently. You understand? I certainly understand. I understand where that's coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So basically, that's the structure. So we have membership at the top. We have the board of directors. We have committees, managers, and then employees. So that's the way cooperatives are structured. Now, there are no really difference in the structure in a startup stage.
Okay.
Or in the forming stage, as when the cooperative is registered and become a legal entity. Okay,
it's more or less along that same line.
Along that same line.
All right.
Yes.
How important it is for a cooperative to maintain these particular structures per se?
Well, it's very important. Besides being part of the law, really, that governs cooperative, it really helps to ensure that you have a very clear chain of command.
All right.
Right, and then it enhances the ability of the managers to manage and the board to manage the cooperative.
Yeah.
Right. They pass down information. They make decisions and they pass it down to the lower managers, of course. But then remember that they're also accountable to the members. Right. So the members themselves will make the major decisions, as I would say. They usually for example, if they have an annual general meeting, they might set decisions, set things like the maximum borrowing limit for the cooperative, and those are things that the board would have to work within, right? For example, if you they might see an opportunity to purchase a piece of property. The board might see that, but then if the property costs $500,000, let's say $500,000, if the members set a maximum borrowing limit of $200,000, then the board just can't go ahead and
so that's where the different role in the structure plays now.
Yes.
So from the managerial part,
yes,
the membership, that's where each role plays their part in terms of the overall governance of that particular cooperative.
Cooperative. Yes, definitely.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's interesting to note because, as you mentioned, the membership, the board, there's always the committee, as you mentioned, and then, the workers. Now we go to the role that every part plays.
Right.
In the overall running of that particular cooperative.
Yes.
Now, in the day-to-day running of cooperative, following the structure as it plays, does it open the opportunity where how can I throw this out to you? In that overall running of the everyday running of that particular cooperative, following the structure as we mentioned, does that leave room for other things to happen within that cooperative? When I say room for other things, yes, we set it up like that. You mentioned we want to purchase some property or whatever, but then there may be other members of the committee have a different idea about something.
Okay,
you understand? I'm talking about it in that particular way.
Okay. So that's where the democratic member control comes in.
Yeah.
The democratic part of it comes in, because obviously if you put you put a group of persons together, everybody will have diverse ideas.
Yeah.
All right. So whenever you have a general meeting per se, person might want to put forward their ideas, and they think, well, this is the best idea, this is the direction that we should go. Everybody has an equal say, and that is what cooperatives are run. So they might come and throw their idea. So you might trash it out, and then you have a vote.
Yeah.
Right? So even though, let's say we both are in a cooperative, and I might have an idea, I think my idea is the best.
Yeah.
You put out your idea, and the vote goes in your favor. We go with your idea.
Okay. So that
final
decision is left up to the overall decision of our members.
Yes.
So no one can say, well, my idea is the best, and we go with that.
No. No. And even if you're a person and you say you invest quite a sizable amount in the cooperative, that's the difference between a cooperative and a company, right?
Yes.
Because if I suppose I'm buying shares in a company and I have a particular number of shares, sizable amount of shares, then
you have some outright role or leadership role per se in it because of my quantity. You understand?
Yes. But with a cooperative, it doesn't matter how much shares you invest. It's one member, one vote.
One vote.
Yes.
All right.
One member, one vote.
That's interesting. That's interesting because sometimes you wonder how the maintaining of the structure when individuals feel that they have a higher level for some reason or the other.
Yes.
You understand? But it doesn't mean how many shares you have or how many whatever you have within it or what you put in. You at that level as everyone else.
Yes. So in principle that's how it's supposed to be. But I must say in every group dynamic, there are usually persons that have stronger personalities, right?
They kind of have that leadership role per se.
Yes. And so that's why it's important that we have regulations, because to make sure that structure is maintained. Because some persons can be very strong, they have strong personalities and tend to want to take over everything. So that's where the regulation part comes in.
So how does the cooperative league fits into this to a point where the structure is followed, but you want to maintain that, make sure that everything is governed goes to plan? How does the cooperative league fits in there?
Yes, well, the league is the function of the league really, and the Department of Cooperative is really imperative in that we dare to ensure that the principles and the laws that are put in place to govern cooperatives are followed by persons forming cooperatives. If you don't have regulations, people are going to just run amok.
We know what happens once there's no rule and structure to govern it. Do as you want kind of attitude plays into play.
Exactly. So although there's a slight difference between the role of the department and the role of the league, in that the department really are the regulators.
Okay.
Right. So we are the department. We would regulate based on the law.
Okay.
What the law says. All right, so when we come and we say, okay, you're supposed to have your sign up with your name and your registration number and so on, that's what we come to see. You have that. Do you have your books in place? All right, are you doing proper record keeping? All right, are you being audited?
Yeah.
We want to make sure that you're being audited, and there's transparency and accountability, right? So really, that is the main purpose of the department. So when we come, we look for those things.
All right.
The league will also do that as well, right? But really, the function of the lead is to enhance, to help to develop, to help to provide training of the cooperatives. So that's where the difference comes in between the two entities.
Okay, because I was thinking, the Greater Cooperative League, or the division of cooperative comes in, especially when in some of the structure development. Do you play a role in that at all? In the overall structure development of that particular cooperative?
But of course, from the initial stages, right? So when we come in and we persons will express their interest in forming a cooperative, first thing we do education and training with them. So we bring the group together and we said, okay, this is how a cooperative is run, this is the structure, all right, this is the guidelines that you need to follow. So we do that from the very beginning.
And you make sure they abide with it as they go along.
As they go along. Yes.
All right. Interesting to know. To know. I mean, this is fruitful, and I certainly hope there are listeners and viewers out there who are thinking, hey, there are probably a couple of individuals sitting together right now thinking, and listening to this program, I'm saying, I want to form a cooperative. Or maybe there's a cooperative that's already formed. Yeah. And sometimes maybe losing its way for some way or the other. It happens. It happens. And maybe a bit of a refresher pops in here in this conversation that helps them to get themselves reorganized and moving. But then the Greater Cooperative League story is always there to make sure that they don't go offline. As you would say, it's always there to make sure they don't go offline. And in terms of your overall checking up, to make sure they're intact always.
Yes. I must say though, this year 2025 has been a kind of exciting year for us because we've seen quite a number of interest from persons and different groups
wanting to form cooperatives, already started or wanting to form.
Well, we have we did register one early this year, which is Mana Basket.
Yes.
And then we have quite a few that we're working with at different stages now. That's on the way to registration. Okay. All right. And also we have a lot of groups that still calling in and interested and they wishing to form. So I think that's it. It augurs well for us. It speaks good about the cooperative sector in general. I know the financial cooperatives have been doing very well. We don't have any problem there.
All right.
But
they're like in a league for themselves.
Yes.
You can see it that way.
Yes. So it's good to see that the producer and service type cooperatives are now trying to, come on board and really trying to catch up. So I think the future is exciting.
All right, and it all serves well for Grenada as a whole too, eh?
Of course.
In terms of cooperatives forming themselves and just in terms of enhancing each other as they move along.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So Evans, I want to say thank you a whole lot for being here this morning. Always interesting conversation when it comes to relation to sharing information, of course, that comes from the Greater Cooperative League. Yes. As my good friend Brian Grams has said, the division of cooperative. You'd like me to say the division of cooperative. Yes. Anyway, I want to thank you a whole lot. Anything in closing before we take a wrap this morning?
Yes. So, we always here, in the Department of Cooperatives, we're here to answer any question. If you have any questions or query or comments, you can reach us at 435-8779 or 8780. All right. So I just want to thank you once again and best wishes. Hope to have you back sooner or later. Coming back, and of course, probably explain another aspect of the division of how cooperatives are formed and the whole process that goes through. Of course, to share that information out there to our listeners and viewers. Thank you once again. Thank you, sir.
Hey, folks, as we're going to take a wrap for today's edition of the Mid Morning Buzz, we do the segment compliments. It's called Cooperative Spotlight. Thank you once again, and best wishes. Join me again for another edition. That's what we say goodbye.